FPL Game Week 17 transfer targets. It's the last deadline before Christmas, and then of course we have another deadline on Boxing Day, but I'm recording just after the Carabao Cup quarterfinals. Well, 3/4 of them have completed, and we have the draws as well. So in today's video we'll be going through my Vert verified watch list, my top 5 for the next 5 across all the positions. And so if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe, and let's get into it. What's up, it's FPL Vert where arrows go green, and as you can see they did go green, but we'll discuss that a little bit more in my team selection where a triple captain may be activated as well. But for now we're in the transfer targets, and we're going to be doing a free hit and a wildcard draft for Game Week 17 as well. But we'll start with my Vert verified watch list, my top 5 for the next 5. These will have chapters in the video, so you can actually just skip ahead if you want to. But starting with the goalkeepers, and this is relatively short in the best of times, but Raya is your official best goalkeeper as of right now. But if you're going to wildcard, I probably would be looking at Bart Verbruggen at Brighton, just because he is a very budget friendly option, and of course, you know, when you look at the underlying metrics, it's not the best obviously compared to Arsenal. No one's can be compared to Arsenal, but they have decent enough expected goals per conceded per 90. Whether they can keep clean sheets remains to be seen, but I mean, they have the fixtures to at least keep some, especially starting with Sunderland and Burnley in the next 4 as well. West Ham are scoring goals. I won't really class that as a green fixture at the moment in time, and Arsenal and City most definitely are not good fixtures, but you can at least hope for saves, right? And then the rest, yeah, they do make up the numbers and the most of the times, as I usually say. But yeah, I'd say Ryan is the best goalkeeper, but if you're wildcarding Verbruggen, and the rest I wouldn't really spend money on, to be honest. So into the defenders, where there is a bit more choice than just 1 or 2, and the defenders are actually hotting up at the moment, so that's good. I've got O'Reilly top just because he's the cheapest, and obviously it seems like he is the starter at least for the foreseeable future, mainly with 8 Nuri away, unless, you know, Pep benches him in the shock benching for like Ake or something. But yeah, O'Reilly should be secure for minutes and he's cheaper. I personally went for gvardiol though. I'm obviously only allowed 3 City players, and I've got Foden and Haaland, so I can only have 1 defender. And I went for gvardiol mainly because I thought, 1, he'll be better for DEFCON, which a theory that was proven straight away, as in Game Week 16 gvardiol got DEFCON and O'Reilly didn't. But also gvardiol is a set piece monster. I mean, people talk about Gabriel, but since gvardiol made his Premier League debut for Manchester City, no defender scored more goals than him in the Premier League. So in terms of, like, you know, someone super explosive, that'll be your guy. Of course, there is a difference of budget here, so I mean, O'Reilly did go up, I think, so there's only 0.6 million, but that's still $500,000 in difference. So, you know, if you've got money and you want to spread it around on like a luxury transfer like gvardiol, like me, you can go for gvardiol, but I think most people will be going for O'Reilly, so I guess he's going to turn into one of my biggest threats, I guess. And then we've got Calafiori third, just because it seems that Lewis Skelly is clearly not trusted by Arteta in the Premier League. Calafiori essentially started every single game in the Premier League, and only missed out on Game Week 16 due to suspension, which is why there's an asterisk there. But I mean, I think in terms of numbers, he's there, but I also think his going forward, he's way bigger threat than Timber. I love Timber, obviously. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I mean, obviously I love Timber, but I think Calafiori is definitely, if you're looking at those explosive hauls, just like gvardiol, I think Calafiori is the one, really. And he's also a lot cheaper than Timber. Timber's 6.5 million, I believe, and Calafiori is 5.7. 0.8, that is, it's literally $1 million in difference, and Timber's not really offering that much going forward to really justify that price. So I go for Calafiori for a slice of Arsenal. If you, well, with Gyökeres not really being an option for anyone at the moment, so if you want triple Arsenal, it pretty much is, you know, Raya, Calafiori, and probably Saka. So there you go. And then Tarkowski's here. I guess you could have Keane. I'm gonna go with Keane in the wildcard draft, and I'll discuss that a little bit later. But Everton's fixtures do turn quite nicely after this week, of course. So obviously they hosting Arsenal, most likely not going to keep a clean sheet. So yeah, obviously you don't need to go there now. But starting from next week, they'll go away to Burnley. And of course, as you might know already, Tarkowski is the DEFCON monster. But he is 5.5 million, which is pretty expensive for an Everton defender, considering they don't keep that many clean sheets. But I think I would go for Keane. He's a little bit cheaper, but of course there is Brentford that's coming back when that might impact. But given that we have 5 free transfers, we can hop on, hop off, in my opinion. So I would probably go for Keane, but this is just an Everton representative there. And then there's Vandenberg, just because he's a cheap option, and it looks like Fulham are slowly going off the boil. Obviously Anderson's good for DEFCON, but just like Senesi, they'll get DEFCON, but then they'll concede too. So it's not really, there's not much point in it really. So yeah, I think we're going to swap to Vandenberg at the moment. Into the midfielders, which is always a little bit more exciting because we are basically looking for attacking returns rather than holding on to a clean sheet or counting DEFCONs, which I have no problem with doing, obviously, but it's always nice when the big three, that's Saka, Bruno and Foden, have all returned in the same week with double-digit returns, so that's always lovely to see. I've got Saka here number 1 just because he has returned, or he's returned something in each of the last 6 game weeks, so I think he is in the better form. And going away to Everton looked pretty light as well. And I mean, I think you'll back Arsenal to overwhelm Everton anyway, because the Premier League trophy is quite literally on the line. And I don't think Everton have the tools to really disrupt Arsenal going forward. I mean, they're going to be missing their best player in Ndai. They're going to be missing a midfielder, Gay. They're also going to be missing their best player that's in form in Dewsbury Hall, clearly. So yeah, I think a comfortable win for Arsenal has to be on the menu here. And of course, Saka does get DEFCON pretty often in away games as well, so we can look at them. Foden, I don't need to tell you about him. He's just in incredible form right now, and then when Foden is hot, you need to own him before he goes cold again, because that regularly happens too. But West Ham at home, I mean, this is a 3 p.m. kickoff. It's not even being broadcast in the UK. You expect City to comfortably win this, maybe 2 or 3-0. I say no because I have a City defender as well, but if West Ham wanted to do something, that would also be cool as well, maybe get a draw. And then of course Bruno is just in incredible form as well. He's got back-to-back Monday night tools. So let's see how they do at Villa. I think that's a big test, considering that people are touting Aston Villa as title contenders. I personally don't see it. I also think United are playing very well, extremely well. Of course they drew 4-4 and conceded 4 goals, but the manner in which they were playing was quite impressive. So United definitely want to watch, and that's why we've got Cunha on here, mainly because Mbeumo is going to be away at AFCON, as is Ahmad, so they need to alter their dynamics a bit. And Cunha, he only has 1 goal recently, but he actually is putting up pretty decent data. I mean, as you can see, he's pretty much putting up decent data that's comparable to Foden and Palmer, who, when he's on the pitch, which of course has not been that often. But I think Cunha might be an option, especially for Semenyo. Semenyo's got Burnley at home this week, so I have to keep him. But if Bournemouth still looks stinky because they haven't actually won a game in 6 games now, I think that's a very easy swap, Semenyo to Cunha. Palmer's here just because he's on the one to watch right now. I'm not looking at bringing him in anytime soon. But from game week, I believe 23, 24 for Chelsea, their fixtures are incredible. So we'll be looking at Chelsea back then. And typically they will say, and last but not least, but definitely the forwards are definitely the least at this point in time, even maybe behind the goalkeepers, because for a long time it's just been Haaland and Thiago show, and Thiago himself has actually blanked in 3 straight game weeks. In fact, I've had 4 rises with Thiago and not gotten a single attacking return from him, so clearly the forward market is very desperate because they're just clinging on to anyone. But I think for me, it has to be Ekitike in game week 18, and you'll see that on the wildcard draft as well. He scored back-to-back braces, and like I said, the forwards have been pretty dire. So if someone's going to be doing back-to-back braces, they're immediately on radar. But then you look a little bit deeper, and he's doing incredibly well. He is definitely establishing himself as Liverpool's first choice striker. I think at a time and a period where Liverpool's struggling for form, you're not really going to take out the guy that's actually scoring. So I think he should be great for minutes. And of course, there's some great stats that I've been tweeting about as well. For example, just an all-round appeal. Only Haaland and Igor Jesus are taking more shots in the Premier League than Ekitike, and only Joao Pedro is attempting more take-ons than Ekitike. And of course, he's been ruthlessly efficient as well, with 8 returns from 4.6 around that expected goal involvement. So he's obviously a very clinical finisher. When you watch him, he's very assured, he's very efficient with his touches, which is, it makes for positive reading when you have to watch Yokeres. But it's fine. I think, I've already got my 2 transfers in place for next week, where I'll be downgrading to get Ekitike. Well, I'll be upgrading Thiago to get Ekitike, but I'll be downgrading Senesi. Most likely to Goodmanson. Hopefully he drops tonight. And you know, Wolves home to Wolves, home to Leeds. Even if Fulham away and Arsenal away are blanks, you're expecting some returns. But yeah, I think Ekitike is going to be the one for me. Bowen is getting a lot of chatter as well. But for me, it's between Ekitike and Bowen. So it's basically between a Liverpool attacker or a West Ham attacker, which is basically a Champions League attacker or someone trying to avoid relegation. I think it boils down to that at the end of the day. And Bowen does really well for one of my very close friends, FPL Afro. But I just don't see him hauling. Like, he'll get like a return here or there maybe, but I don't see him hauling like back to back like Ekitike has been, for example. So Ekitike for me is a little bit more expensive. I think, you know, paying a little like a mil extra for a Champions League attacker is more than valid compared to, you know, someone that is coached by Nuno Espirito Santo. No offense. And then there's Calvert-Lewin, who's actually scored 4 games in a row now. So if you need a cheap option, he's definitely the one. Of course, all their fixtures are going to look bad, even if they technically good on paper, because they are Leeds. With all due respect to them, they are the promoted side that's joined our league. So yeah, I mean, if you need a cheap option that you don't need to play every week, it'll be Calvert-Lewin for me. But yeah, I think it's got to be Haaland, Ekitike, and the big 3 in the midfield as a template that's going to be forming for myself at the very least anyway. So as promised, we have a Game Week 17 free hit draft, and I think it's pretty straightforward. Of course, we have Triple City home to West Ham. You're expecting a very comfortable win there. We do have double Arsenal going away to Everton because, you know, even if Everton were full strength, you would back Arsenal to win, but Everton are severely weakened by some absences. So let's see what happens there. We've got double Bournemouth home to Burnley. I've been personally keeping both of these guys for this fixture, so I'm hoping for some return on investment at the very least. Wilson's here because he is in form, and like there's a big bandwagon forming. I'm not convinced though, like owning him long term. Of course, you're not going to play Burnley every week, and even in that game, Burnley actually accumulated more XG than Fulham. So I actually wouldn't be looking at Fulham players, especially like someone like Anderson as well. He'll be on the bench just for cover, as I learned from my lesson in my free hit 13, which we don't need to go into, but you need to make sure you have a playing bench for your free hit. Just remember that, in case Salah misses out or something. And then we've got Hincapié on the bench, Anderson on the bench, and Saka on the bench. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Obviously, Verbruggen, and we've got Ekitike going away as well, mainly because Liverpool tend to score quite a lot of goals against Spurs, it seems. So yeah, that's my free hit draft for Game Week 17. And then here's a look at a Game Week 17 wildcard. Just a reminder, you have to use all your chips by Game Week 19. So as in, the chip has to be active for Game Week 19, or you lose it. So it's literally use it or lose it territory right now. So if you've got your wildcard chip right still, I probably would activate it now. Obviously, it would have been better if you activated it in Game Week 16 because, you know, you got given 5 free transfers. So hopefully you haven't blown them all in 1 week. Use the wildcard now, and then just hold on to those transfers and make luxury transfers, I guess. So this would be the foundation I would be building on right now. So there's no Raya on the wildcard because I think there's money to be used elsewhere. So as I mentioned, we have Calafiori because I think he's the best route into Arsenal's defense at this point in time. We've got Vandenberg, who can be rotating with Keane. Keane will be here until Branthwaite is back, which we don't actually know when. He might be back by January, but you know, I think it makes more sense to not spend $1 million on Tarkowski. I'm not moved by him as a pick still. Senesi and Semenyo are here for a week only, but you know, they can stay for now. Obviously, you can rotate play out. We've got the Triple City. Bruno has to be here. Obviously, he's not in the free hit draft, but I think for long term you have to have Bruno. You have to have the big 3 for sure. You have to have the big 3. And as you can see on the right hand side, I've actually got a booked in transfer for this wildcard because can't really sell Thiago before he goes away to Wolves, given the form that they were in. But as soon as that's over, I would be going to Ekitike straight away because, as I mentioned, you can't be missing a Wolves fixture, right? So we're going to be playing Wolves twice in our forward line on this wildcard draft. So that is the video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please drop it into the comments or reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, or TikTok as well. I need to start using TikTok again. But yeah, I'm active on all those socials. And yeah, this will be the last time we speak. Well, this will be the last transfer target video before Christmas, so Merry Christmas. But I will be doing a team selection video as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.